What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Crunch Time on a Sunday morning. The last, as Cards are saying pre-show, the last Sunday anyone gives two you-know-whats about baseball, because next Sunday everything is going to be about football. But Justin, this is just one more final disappointing day for your St. Louis Cardinals season and everything else that goes on in baseball. What's going on, man?
Yeah, I'm not used to them being so bad that I haven't been as ready for football to start as I am this year based on just my own team being horrible. So we're just counting the days down in Cardinal land until they can, play golf in the off season. And they had a chance to tie the game in the bottom of the ninth last night, and everybody was swinging for the fences. It's like, we don't want to tie the game. We don't want to play extra innings. Let's get out of here one way or the other. Either we're going to win or we're going to go home with another L. So, it'll be interesting. From my perspective, the 5 months of waking up around 5 a.m. on Sunday mornings to write baseball can get to be a bit of a grind. In the I do that on Saturdays and Sundays. So getting that Sundays to where there's not much to do for baseball is at least a welcome respite from the getting up super early every day on the weekend. So yeah, I'm ready for football, but maybe we can send the Sunday out with a bang here.
I'll see when football Sunday comes, it's more for me because you're up at 5 a.m. right, and I'm up 5 a.m. playing like 6 sites, getting all the props in, doing all of that nonstop on Sunday morning. So we have the disappointed St. Louis fan. We've got a Coors game on half the slates today. Your Blue Jays are in there, TJ. You excited to use some of them at least on Fanduel today?
Yeah, they're definitely going to be a priority for me on Fanduel. Running 150 on DraftKings today, though. I won the mini-max there yesterday, so feeling pretty good. Got me some extra entry fees for NFL season. And we got Spidey Bombs coming at 40 likes, we'll say, for the first one. And I'm, ready to go break down this fight. We got a fun one.
All right, I'll throw out another football bet. I do have a baseball bet today, and maybe I'll give you a football bet too if we get all the likes up there today. Let's go to pitching. We're still playing DFS for at least one final Sunday. Cards, there's nobody, we don't have anyone to really spend on, right? Gaussman's on FanDuel. I don't think anyone's crazy enough to pay top dollar for him today, although the RotoGrinders projections like him, he would not be my top choice today. I'm sort of in the Scooble lane today. The White Sox, again, without Luis Robert, he's looking pretty good. You've got a right-handed pitcher in John Gray going up against the Twins. You've got maybe a disappointing Alcantara, a Kirby against the Mets, Sale against Kansas City. Where do you fall on the spectrum of who you want to anchor your teams today?
Yeah, so on Gosman real quick, if Toronto was at home against Colorado in this matchup, like he would be the highest owned pitcher by a mile. And now, because he's on the road, nobody wants to play him. I agree he's probably not optimal for cash games, but Colorado is only projected for about 4.2 runs. And Kevin Gosman grew up in Centennial, Colorado. Friends and family narrative. He's got like 40 fans and friends and family in the stands today. If you're a narrative street person, I don't think it's crazy to play Gosman and some GPPs on FanDuel today. Otherwise, my favorite is probably going to be either Tariq Skubal or Chris Sale. Right now, we've got ownership coming in on Alcantara. I don't really like playing him as chalk. John Gray, his numbers aren't that great, gets a matchup bump against Minnesota, but like the pitchers are all just kind of in this bubble today. And I would, in terms of GPPs, I definitely go with the lower owned guys, but even in cash games, I think I feel most comfortable with Skubal. If you look at his numbers, pretty solid across the board. He's back up to full strength. The White Sox, not a dangerous offense. Luis Robert got scratched today. So, who else is in that White Sox lineup that you fear with Robert scratched and, Jake Berger's been traded. So to me, Skubal is the SP1 today. Our ownership doesn't necessarily jive with that. But I mean, he's my guy and Sale's probably next, but it's just a weird mismatch of pitchers today because there's not a whole lot of guys on the mega cheap to like, but nobody's really super expensive either. So, I mean, you could make a case for maybe all of these guys in the 9K range on FanDuel and DraftKings and, and feel okay with it. But yeah, Skubal and Sale are probably my two, especially where I'm overweight on the field in GPPs.
All right. What do you think about John Gray? A $600 savings on DraftKings. If you need that to get a Julio Rodriguez, if you need that to get whatever else you need in your lineup to work today, are you okay with that being a drop from a cash?
Yeah, he's a little bit of a better play on DraftKings. I mean, it's basically just because he's facing the Twins and they strike out a ton. I'm a little bit worried about his form. Hasn't been spectacular coming in, but yeah, he's fine on DK.
All right. And then TJ, how are you breaking down pitching from the top? Lots of different ways to go. And then are there any cheap plays you want to dart throw on if you are finding something to spend up on today?
First things first, we got over 40 likes, and I want 75 likes for Spidey Bum number 2, only 15 away. But the first one, you can find this guy for plus 500 on Fanduel today. One of my favorite tournament stacks as well is the Texas Rangers. Spidey Bum number 1 is the leadoff hitter, Marcus Semien.
Yep. I was looking at that. I did not bet it, but the plus 500 did look pretty good. And with your blessing, TJ, I'm going to follow you in against Maeda. Certainly capable of giving up a little bit of power every now and then. All right, tournament pitching. TJ, what's the exposures look like for you?
So I have 100% Tariq Skubal today. As soon as we got word that Luis Robert was getting scratched for the second day in a row, that changed my Skubal exposure from about 65% to 100%. He is cheap. It's a great matchup. No Robert means we really only have we're worried about Vaughn and Jimenez. Sure, Vaughn and Jimenez can hit for some power, but I think there should be at least 6, 7, 8 strikeouts in this lineup for him today. And so I have 100% Skubal, and then I am on DraftKings where I'm running 150. I have 6 pitchers who I'm mixing and matching as my SP2. John Gray and Chris Sale, of course, are the 2 kind of chalkier ones that make sense, and they are my second and third highest owned pitcher. But the 2 guys I'm going to be getting the most overweight on today, outside of course, Skubal, who I'm locking in, are Zach Thompson and Johan Oviedo in the same game. I do like both of those stacks as well. I like a St. Louis stack. I like a Pittsburgh stack. But I could see either of those pitchers having strong games today. So Zach Thompson and Johan Oviedo are 2 guys I like in tournaments. And then just because they're cheap, I am getting 10 to 15% of Michael Kopech and Tyler Miguel.
Cards, you had to pick your pitcher 4 against the Cardinals today. Which one would you have to choose?
Well, the Cardinals are 3-9 against the Pirates this year or something, and it's a revenge game for Oviedo because he pitched for the Cardinals for a number of years, and they pretty much just left him out to dry. So, yeah, give me Oviedo. Thompson. Zach Thompson in AAA this year had a 20.3% walk rate. I mean, that's
call him up.
That's 7% higher than Blake Snell. His numbers haven't been as bad at the major league level, but my goodness, the guy can't throw strikes. So yeah, I have no confidence in Thompson. He's cheap, and this is probably just my bias from watching him a little bit, but I prefer Oviedo if I'm choosing between the 2. Admittedly, though, I'm probably not the person to ask.
All right. Alcantara thoughts, Justin. We didn't really talk too much about him. He is he was the Cy Young winner last year. This year's obviously regressed. I think, don't quote me, but I think the bat was on him. I don't have the projections up. I could take a look at it in just a second here. What are your thoughts on him today, just against a pesky Nationals team that doesn't strike out a lot? I don't know. He's 4th or 5th or 6th for me.
Yeah, I think his strikeout prop is 5.5. I mean, I just don't see the ceiling. And as possibly the highest owned pitcher, I just don't love it. I think he's fine. But I don't think you're going to lose a GPP because you didn't play Sandy Alcantara. I think Skubal's got the better chance to get you 10 Ks. If you're playing on FanDuel, I think, Gausman's got the better chance to get you 10 Ks. So, yeah, I don't have much interest in Alcantara. I think he's safe for cash if you just want the path of least resistance, but he's not my priority either.
Yeah, I did check the bat. Always hate going up against Cardi's system, but he is the highest projected, not by a ton. We're talking tenths of a point, highest projected pitcher over there. So if you are using the bat, it probably is going to usher you towards Alcantara today, or Alcantara. Sorry about that. All right, let's get to offense in general. TJ, we're just a few likes. We wanted 75. I'll throw out an NFL bet for you guys at 75 too. and we'll get Spidey Bomb number
Oh, we
2.
actually have 3 college football games today. If we get up
Oh.
to 100, I'll throw a college football bet out there too.
Listen, get your sports books out, people. We are ready to roll. This is how every show is going to be for football too. It's just going to be bets, DFS, at least everything I touch for sure for football.
100 will also be Spidey Bomb number 3. So 75 we get Brits bets and Spidey Bomb 2, and 100 we get Cards' college football bets and Spidey Bomb number 3.
Yeah, I've taken over the scores and odds NFL page, it looks like. So I can just keep going, but I'll just settle for one today. All right, offense in general, TJ. On FanDuel, we have Toronto. Are you MMEing on FanDuel today, or you're just on DraftKings, correct?
Just DraftKings for me today.
All right. So how high would an exposure get to for Toronto today? They're scoring runs left and right in the series. Their lineup looks pretty good. They're littering my cash games. Them and Boston going to be very popular today.
Yeah, Toronto would be by far my top priority on FanDuel. Like, I would probably have them, if I was running 150, I would probably have them in at least a third of my lineups, a full stack. And then on in a single entry situation, I'd be full stacking them as well over on FanDuel. We've gotten over 75 legs, so it's time for Spidey Bomb number 2. You can get them plus 650 over on DraftKings, and I believe plus 700 at Bet365. Lars Nootbaar for Cards' Cards. Spidey Bomb number 2.
Justin, this is tough. He wants Thompson. He wants Cardinals home runs. Is this going to be a win to close out the weekend?
I don't mind the homer bets for some of those Cardinals. I can get behind that. Yeah, Nootbaar, their lineup's a little weird today. O'Neal's not in there, Contreras not in there, but yeah, I like Nootbaar. He's probably been their biggest pleasant surprise this year.
All right, and then TJ, in terms of overall offense, maybe on DraftKings, what are a couple of your favorite stacks? I know yesterday on YouTube, someone asked about a Detroit stack, and we sort of said, oh, maybe just a one-off. Little did we know they were going to go ballistic. Are there any teams like them maybe sneaking up your ownership today?
Yeah, I think I was the only one that said yes on Detroit, and still even said I prefer a mini stack, but I don't mind the full stack. Then it ended up being the Detroit full stack that won me the mini max. And so they actually are my top stack today. Detroit is my highest owned stack. Torkelson, Carpenter, all these guys have just been hitting the ball so well lately. Akili Badou leading off. So Detroit followed by 5 kind of more expensive stacks that I all really like today. Seattle, Boston, Texas, Philly, St. Louis. Philly is the team there that probably drops bottom of the list for me. But I really like Seattle. Boston, of course, everyone is going to like today. And then Texas and St. Louis are 2 teams that nobody else is playing very much that I'm looking to get quite significantly overweight on. And then don't mind some Miami, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, and Kansas City for tournaments as well. But my main focus are Detroit, Seattle, Boston, Texas, St. Louis.
All right, before we get to position by position, let me tell you there is a lot going on here at RotoGrinders. If you are watching this on YouTube, this is a free show sponsored by FanDuel. They're nice enough to let it be free for the masses. If you've ever wanted to check out RotoGrinders Premium for football and you are currently not a RotoGrinders Premium member, you can get $50 off. That means NFL for just $375. It ends the opening night of the season. Go check that out just on your RotoGrinders main page. If you're in the college football streets, I know Cards is in there, and I know our co-host yesterday, Tim, he knew nothing, Justin, about college football. Went in the Discord, watched the shows, won some cash. You can check out the college football Discord popping off along with all the other Discord channels on RotoGrinders, the community, the content creators who are writing articles and whatnot. They are a lot more active than they used to be, so make sure to check out Discord. And again, thanks to our sponsor, FanDuel, for sponsoring the show. If you are a new customer to a FanDuel Sportsbook, you can bet $5. You can get $200 in bonus bets and $100 off NFL Sunday ticket. Hopefully it's lag-free if you're trying to get some extra eyes on football this year. All right, that's all out of the way. Cards, catcher, probably not on FanDuel today. On DraftKings, to me, it's pretty simple. You're paying up for like a Real Muto, a Cal Raleigh, or you're paying all the way down to like a Wong to get exposure to that Boston offense.
Yeah, Connor Wong, I think, you look at some guys getting Sundays off. Contreras not in the lineup for the Cardinals today. So Connor Wong, I like. Cal Raleigh is probably my favorite spend. TJ and I are pretty much on the same page as far as offenses to like today. Everyone likes Toronto. Everyone likes Boston. Seattle's probably my next favorite. You look at Tyler McGill's numbers, just hasn't been that great this year, and that's putting it nicely. And you look at the month of August, weighted runs created plus, the best offense in baseball was Seattle. This is a team that their full season numbers, still don't look spectacular because they got off to such a poor start in the first half. But I like Cal Raleigh a good bit today. Real Muto, I think, is fine, but I'm underweight on Philly as well. Mitch Garver is hitting 5th for Texas today. He'd be maybe another name I'd throw in the hat.
TJ catcher, what's your exposures looking like?
Cal Raleigh is by far my highest owned guy today, and then outside of him, it's mostly just players and stacks. Mitch Garver is probably the other. I'd be looking at one off, maybe William Contreras, but it's mostly just stacks for me. So guys like Carson Kelly, Connor Wong, Andrew Kisner, Sal Perez, and some JT Realmuto.
All right, we're 10 likes away from another Spidey bomb. Cards and I will hold our bets till after 105 for lock. We'll get a college football and an NFL one. Your bet doesn't require us to get this in before 105.
No, it's a 3:30 start.
So all right, so we're good. We'll hold those till after at the end of the show. Let's go to first base. Fanduel is pretty simple. It's Vlad Guerrero. You're probably going to want to try to get Brandon Belt onto your team somewhere as well. Probably the utility spot since
do Belt instead of Guerrero.
You want Belt instead of Guerrero? Straight up, I want both.
This is like, I guess, the homer in me, but at the same time, it's more that I've just been watching all of their games. Like, it's so he just hits everything on the ground. He just doesn't get the ball in the air ever these days. I'm not sure what's going on with him. It's been a problem all year. He's leading the league in grounding into double plays, and he grounded into 2 more with bases loaded yesterday. Obviously, that's some of my recency bias coming into play here, but the guy just can't get the ball in the air right now.
Well, what's he got? I mean, obviously, they're facing a righty today. What's he got, like 1 homer against a lefty all season or something like that? It's just been a little bit strange. I agree. I think Belt on FanDuel is fine. You get him at a little bit of a discount. I like Tristan Casas a lot as well. Hit his 22nd homer last night. I mean, Boston's facing Greinke. Casas on FanDuel is only $2,900. I think you can play 2 first basemen on FanDuel if you want. Play one of the Blue Jays guys and Casas. Connor Joe, another guy you can maybe consider as a value here. Torkelson.
You want Casas or Turner if you have to pick one on
I'm taking Casas.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
For what it's worth, like Casas Belt would be what I would do on FanDuel.
Yeah, I think that's probably a lot of people's choice for cash games today to play both of those guys.
And TJ, the tournament pool, what's it looking like for you outside of Casas?
Yeah, he's my highest owned guy today, but I absolutely love Spencer Torkelson. Don't mind some Nathaniel Lowe, Pete Alonso, Bryce Harper, Paul Goldschmidt. Getting to all those guys a decent amount today, and then to save some salary, Connor Joe, Mike Ford, Josh Bell, Daniel Vogelbach, even some Carlos Santana I like today. So similar to the catcher position, I have one guy with about 20% of them, and it was Cal Raleigh there, and here it's Tristan Casas. And then I got a bunch of others, mostly just in my stacks in the 10% range.
All right, second base, you got Schneider on FanDuel. Should be the consensus play over there. DraftKings, I don't know. It's not the greatest. Everyone's expensive, and then the mid-tier is pretty lacking. You've got McKinstry on both sites. Looks pretty nice to me. McKinstry, you can move him around quite a bit over on FanDuel. But I like him on DraftKings at $3,900. Wish he was just a little bit cheaper, but that plays for me today, Cards.
Yeah, this position kind of stinks. I think because I like Simeon, but he's really expensive. So if you can't quite get there, it's probably not the optimal use of salary if you have to mess everything around to get it. So, I mean, Gorman is projecting as like one of the best guys, but he hasn't been hitting anything lately. McKinstry has a value. Julien, even though he's facing Gray, I think is fine. Like, I do not have a strong take at this position. You can kind of fill it in last. Tommy Edmonds hitting 9th today, so I really don't like him either. But yeah, it's fine to just go cheap here because there is not really anything to love.
Yeah. What have you come up with, TJ, from the tournament pool running it through lineup HQ?
I've come up with a whole lot of the Spidey Bomb Marcus Semien. I'm kind of prioritizing him as a pay up option here. And then additionally, like I'm getting to a decent amount of Gorman. I really like Zach McKinstry here, getting to some Luis Arias. I'm taking shots on Jake Alou, batting fifth today for Washington, and he's just super duper cheap. So I like him quite a bit as a full punt. And then both the Minnesota guys, Julian and Polanco, I like as well.
All right, third base cards. A couple. I'm trying to get exposure to Devers. I think on DraftKings specifically, I'm going to make it work. You can do it on Fanduel as well pretty easily. If you can move some things around, maybe if you don't play Vlad, you'll have a little bit of extra money. He's my priority. Your consolation prize, Cabrian Hayes.
Yeah, totally agree. Devers is my top bat on the slate. Hayes, I think, is fine leading off today against Thompson. Arenado, if you're into that game, kind of in GPPs like TJ is. Suarez, I like a little bit better on FanDuel if you need something cheaper there. But Jake Berger, probably the other guy for some upside. Josiah Gray really hasn't looked good in the second half. Berger, we kind of prefer his power against lefties, but I'm fine with him against a righty as well. So Devers, Berger, Hayes. Pretty narrow pool, I think, for me at third base, and probably a position where you'll look to spend up.
And TJ from tournaments, who are you landing on?
Yeah, a lot of Devers, a lot of Hayes. That's 1 and 2 for me today. And then Suarez and Berger are 4 and 5, two other guys that you mentioned. I'm getting a lot of Matt Vierling as a salary saver, and then Nolan Arenado as well.
All right, shortstop cards. I don't know. I basically needed to punt a position. So if you need to, you've got short on DraftKings is 2,300. You can play Story. Story fits reasonably easily on FanDuel if you want to play him at short. If you're spending up, you've got Bobby Witt. How do you want to handle short today?
Yeah, I mean, of course you can play Tim Anderson if you want to keep banking on that, but I'm on Scooble, so not super interested there. I think Story is fine for sure on FanDuel. You got the cheaper Tigers guys on DraftKings. I like JP Crawford a good bit as well. Maybe a little bit of sticker shock for some people there with the price tag with Crawford on DK, but I like Seattle a good bit. Good splits. He leads the team in WOBA against righties this year, so I like JP Crawford a good bit as well.
And then TJ, tournaments?
I'm paying up here at this position, so I'm getting to a lot of Corey Seager, a lot of Bobby Witt, a lot of Trey Turner. Those are going to be my three favorites today. I like the JP Crawford call, and then Willie Adames and Francisco Lindor are two other guys I'm trying to get to quite a bit in tournaments.
All right, let's go to the outfield cards. I've gotten to Julio Rodriguez personally on DraftKings. That's been, this is sort of why I've punted at catcher and at shortstop today because I want Julio Rodriguez. Couldn't get to him on FanDuel, wanted him somewhere today. You've got Badu, both sites. Looks like a really nice value. I like Verdugo quite a bit. I know the projection systems won't like him as much, but I'll take him against this opener Greinke combo for sure. In Kansas City today, these are some guaranteed points for Verdugo, in my opinion. What else are you looking at?
Yeah, I think Badu is definitely my favorite value on the slate today. So I'll be getting to him in plenty of lineups. Obviously on FanDuel, you've got the Blue Jays guys. Varsho hitting 8th today, maybe a little bit less exciting than, otherwise. I still think he's fine on FanDuel, but Tyler O'Neill's not in the Cardinals lineup today, so I've replaced him in my value chart with Jesus Sanchez. I think he's fine as a lower cost play. Connor Joe in the outfield hitting cleanup for Pittsburgh is fine. Teoscar Hernandez, he's kind of forever been a better play on FanDuel with his salary. Newt Barr, who TJ mentioned as a Spidey bomb. Verdugo was a homer away from the cycle last night. He keeps on hitting. Yoshida, you guys were talking before the show, good home run odds on him today. So some of those Boston guys I think are fine. Jordan Walker is probably my favorite bat for the Cardinals today. So outside of Newt Barr. So that's my picks for the
All
outfield.
right. As TJ talks outfield, guys, we are 3 likes away from Spidey Bomb number 3. Let's get those in here, TJ. Hopefully they do. We can get it after you tell them what you're doing in the outfield.
Yeah, let's do it. So Akil Baddoo is going to be my highest owned outfielder today. I believe he's actually my highest owned bat on the slate. Jazz Chisholm, Spidey Bomb, Lars Nootbaar I like quite a bit today. Trying to get to as much Adam Duvall and Julio Rodriguez as possible. And then to save salary, I like Mark Canha, Nelson Velasquez, Joey Weimer, Tyrone Taylor, all these Brewers guys quite a bit. Kerry Carpenter, I really like as a tournament spend up option. And we're one like away. Get me one more like. Spidey Bomb number 3 today. I was torn. Should I go back to? I was thinking about doubling down on Cardinals just because Cards is here, and I thought it would be fun. And I really like Alec Burleson's odds. He's plus 1,000 to hit a home run today. But
things are going so swimmingly for the Cardinals that a good chunk of their pregame yesterday was a bunting lesson from Alec Burleson. It was riveting. Anyway.
Spidey Bomb number 3, you can get him for plus 630 over on FanDuel. It is Alex Verdugo.
Yeah, I'm on Verdugo and cash, I think, on both sites today. So that sounds good. If you're if you're playing, if you're in on DFS on someone, do you also want to take their home run? Do you want to go in the sports betting streets too? Is it too much on a sport like baseball?
Yeah, I usually like to use if I'm playing heavy in DFS, I like to use the home run picks as my hedge against like the chalky guy that I fade. Mm-hmm. So that's how I tend to do it. I don't like to go.
I'm just all in on Verdugo today. What can go wrong? I mean, I think he's in a good spot, and he's hitting pretty good today. All right, so we're gonna go to questions. D-Dot in our Discord. This is the live stream Discord chat. Again, if you're just looking for a community, make sure to check out college football, NFL, baseball, whatever you're into. There's a RotoGrinders community for it. It's free. Check it out. This one's pretty easy to me. He wants FanDuel single entry. Bryce Harper and Mark Cannon. Now, I love Bryce Harper, but when you're comparing that to Jazz Chisholm and Kyle Schwarber, it is easily option number 2. I think everyone on the board here is going to agree with that.
Yep.
Yeah, that's going to be number 2 for me. Going to YouTube, let's see what we have here. DZ wants to know McKinstry, Turner, Verdugo, or Julian Crawford and Julio Rodriguez for DraftKings cash. And as much as I like Julio, I think that top one is just very balanced with all the names you want on your cash team today, Cards.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd take that first one for cash.
All right.
I guess that's why I'm a tournament player, because I like that second one a lot better.
Let's see here. Oviedo or Gray for his last pitcher on DraftKings. Cards, maybe a couple people showed up a little late. Why don't you give me a 1-minute spiel on what we're doing at pitcher and then answer that question as well?
Yeah, it depends on your format. There's not a whole lot separating the guys at the top today. I like Scooball, and TJ's kind of going all in on Scooball today as well. So he's kind of our SP1. Chris Sale's my SP2, but there's a lot of guys that are bunched there together. If you are looking to go cheaper, Gray gets a little bit of a bump on DraftKings because his price is fairly affordable. I'm okay with that. I think Oviedo would be more of the tournament play. Certainly wouldn't play him in any cash games, but he's fine in GPPs as well.
All right. Steelers from the YouTube chat wants to know Jazz or Varsho today. And even though that's in Coors Field, I think I'm going to take Jazz Chisholm if I have to choose specifically between those two today. TJ, would you agree with that?
Yeah, 100%.
Justin?
Yes, especially with where Varsho's sitting.
All right. Let me see. Looking for a couple more questions. Looks like TJ answered that in chat. If you guys have any, please get the questions in. We are more than happy to answer them. TJ, I'm going to throw it to you. Have you been tinkering at all? What's your final exposures look like? We're about 5 minutes to lock. What's everything looking like on DraftKings for you?
From a pitching standpoint, 100% Tariq Scooball, then mixing and matching a bunch of different SP2s, Gray, Sale, Zach Thompson, Oviedo, Kopech, and McGill. And then for stacks today, Detroit is actually my highest owned stack. But then outside of them, I love all the spend up stacks. I got Seattle, Boston, Texas, Philly, St. Louis as my top stacks today, mixing in a little bit of Miami, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, Minnesota, Kansas City as well. But that's Detroit, Seattle, Boston, Texas, Philly, St. Louis as the top stacks I'm getting to today in MME.
Someone in YouTube wanted to know the best hitting weather. So with that, we just go right to Weather Edge. It's on the screen here. The screen looks pretty green. Pick a place. It looks pretty good. Rockies, 13% increase in home runs, 87 degrees, the wind blowing out. St. Louis, 8-mile-per-hour winds, 88 degrees, wind blowing out. It's a heat wave across the country, if you can't tell. 92 degrees in Kansas City with the wind blowing out directly to dead center at 10 miles an hour. Pick a spot There's home runs, White Sox. If you like the Detroit offense today, that looks like a nice boost. 16-mile-per-hour winds, a little sideways, but it's 90 degrees basically everywhere.
Is there anything that doesn't have a fire emoji?
There's something. Yeah, when you get to the West Coast games, Dodgers.
Yeah, we don't care about
Padres.
those.
Yeah, we don't. They're not on the slate today. We don't care about those. But the weather looks good across the board today, and I know as soon as the show's over, I'm going outside to get some yard work done because it's so nice. It's supposed to be in like the 90 pluses all next week, basically across the country. So we'll keep an eye on that. Parabe wants to know Castellanos or Springer for a FanDuel single entry. So TJ, you gotta. This is, do you want to eat the chalk of the Toronto, or do you want to maybe take a one-off and throw it on Castellanos? Always a good home run bet.
No, it's Springer for me.
Yeah, I think Springer would probably, if you don't like Vlad, I think TJ was a little down on Vlad. Springer would probably be your highest projected player on FanDuel today if you didn't like Vlad Guerrero. Zach wants to know Merrifield or Verdugo for a single entry. He's got 3 of Toronto. TJ, you'd answered him, but if you got 3 Toronto, let's just make it 4. It's pretty simple.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no problem doing that. Let's see here. Let me check Discord and see if we have any questions in there. A couple have come up here today. BJ Tom wants to know Gorman or McKinstry. I'm firmly on McKinstry over Gorman today, Justin.
Yeah, Gorman can't hit the ball right now, which tends to be a problem. So I am not really super interested in him at the moment.
That's the thing about baseball is you do want to be able to hit the ball.
Yeah, generally helps if you can.
Yeah. Side 12 wants to know FanDuel cash a 3v3, so pay attention, Justin. Alcantara, Anderson, and Carpenter, or Skubal, Clement, and Devers. That's definitely number 2 for me. Yeah. The number 1 is, I don't think I'm on any of those guys.
I'm not really either.
Greatness wants to know FanDuel tournament, Mariners or Phillies. TJ, who you got? Who's going to outscore Toronto today?
Mariners.
Oh, yeah, I think the Mariners will be reasonably popular, but I do like the Phillies, but I would take the Mariners if I was ranking them. Let's see here. Alan wants to know, TJ, you're everywhere. You're producing. You were screen sharing earlier. You're Spidey bombing. This is just you're doing too much work, man. I don't know if that
is in full force right now. It's just out to me all over the place. I got a bad.
That's my life.
It's in a lot of pain, and so I'm just distracting myself with as many different ways as
I have a very funny story. Yesterday of what happened to me in the morning, and I don't think I'm going to say it, but my ADD was in full force yesterday morning. So maybe some other time, but not right now.
If we're out of PQs, I got to give my shout outs to. So I've had this prediction for a long time. Like I've been saying since like probably 2018. That's the 2024 Summer Olympics, the Team Canada would win a medal because Team Canada in basketball, because Team Canada basketball has been getting basically since I hit high school so much aggressively better every single year. Shout out to Canada on the back of SGA, who just qualified for the Olympics for the first time, I think, since 2000, winning their berth into the FIBA Basketball World Cup quarterfinals. And so shout out Canada. They're cooking. They're going to the Olympics. Hopefully
big comeback too. They were down by like 12 in the fourth quarter. I didn't even realize they won until I just looked it up.
Dylan Brooks he's on the Team Canada, I saw. Is that correct?
I think he's probably on this roster. Yeah, I don't know if he'll be on the Olympic. He probably will be.
All right. Looks like the questions have dried up. Let's throw out Justin. What's this college football bet? What's the best place for me to get it? Who are we liking for today? Anything you're on, I'll follow in on you.
Yeah, so we've got Oregon State and San Jose State is the mid-afternoon. There's 3 games today. You can find all the picks up over at Scores and Odds. But my favorite one today is going to be San Jose State against the spread against Oregon State. So you got Oregon State, who's got a transfer quarterback from Clemson, DJ Uiagalelei, who, I mean, never really did much at Clemson. He was a little better last year, but never really lived up to the hype. And now all of a sudden, because he's at Oregon State, people are thinking, oh, DJ's going to win the Heisman or he's going to be in the conversation for the Heisman. I'm not really buying it. Oregon State is watching the Pac-12 conference crumble around them, and they're like one of only 2 teams that are left. And San Jose State, I mean, they obviously didn't win, but they showed some fight. They scored like 4 touchdowns against USC last week. They're at home on national TV for like one of the first times. And they're catching like 2 touchdowns as an underdog. It was 16.5 this morning when I wrote it up. I think it's down to 14.5 now. As long as you can still get it for over 2 touchdowns. I like San Jose State against the spread against Oregon State this afternoon.
It's basically the same everywhere. Why not go to our sponsor FanDuel and get it in there? That's what I did. My bet, what do you guys, do you want a baseball bet? It is a baseball show. I'll throw a couple out here. So I'd get a little, maybe I get a little too difficult for some of the users on scores and odds, but I created my own custom -1 run line for Boston today. If you go to DraftKings earlier, it was like -175 for a -1 run line. That's basically if they win by 1, you get your money back, which when the money line gets really high into the 200s, I do like the -1 run line. It cuts the juice down a little bit. But if you kind of take the best money line somewhere and then take the best run line somewhere else, you can sort of make a much better line than the single DraftKings -1. So I do like that. I'm okay at the -175. I think it was on DraftKings. I think my bet was around -160 if you take the best money line and the best run line for Boston today. I really like them to give it to Greinke. Football bet. Let's go. Well, actually, I was going to save this one for a take I have on my fantasy points show on Tuesday, so I won't do that. I guess I'll give it to you guys right now. I think a couple offenses are being disrespected. Cards, I don't know. Have you looked? Guess the total on the Bears-Packers game.
I have not looked. Let's go with 46.
It's at 43, and I think that's a little low for both of these offenses. Jordan Love looked good. If they let Fields run right away to start, they got DJ Moore. Both defenses are very questionable. This just looks a little too low. Weather could, come in and screw everything up. We're a week ahead, but the 43 is bad. And if you're getting real frisky cards at plus 1,400 on DraftKings, throw a couple bucks on them to be the highest scoring game of the week. I got that as well.
All right. I don't hate it.
All right. That's going to wrap it up for the show today. For Mr. Producer, Mr. Spidey Bomb, TJ, for maybe he'll be a St. Louis Cardinals fan next year, probably, because that is his screen name, Justin Van Zuden. I'm Britt. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we out, Justin.